Are arguments good? Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Dr. Meghana Dikshit, author of the book You Matter, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to our channel. Here we explore the fascinating realms of the mind and brain, share the secrets to success, help you heal your past, and prepare for a brilliant future. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. And to all our returning viewers, a heartfelt welcome. If you're ready to dive into the incredible world of brain potential, type dive in the chat box right now. Now the pertinent question. Are arguments good? Let's explore. Many people think that arguments in relationships are unhealthy. I was one of them because I always felt my parents were arguing and the outcome was never healthy. And I made a belief inside me that, okay, that means I should not argue in a relationship. I should just keep quiet because keeping quiet is healthy. Let's explore now how that turned out for me or how that may be turning out for you. When you feel the arguments are unhealthy, it happens because people follow patterns where they feel unsafe. Like how I was feeling unsafe in my relationship with my parents. Let me further explain this to you. Arguments can, in fact, be a great way to purify relationships and to reach greater levels of harmony within relationships. This is my personal experience. Yours may be different, so let's explore further into it and let's come to the conclusion afterwards. Now, there are many kinds of arguments, right? Sometimes a little ember of an argument becomes a roaring fire. Such fires have the potential to destroy a relationship if the flames are not put out in time. Some people are averse to conflict and they would do anything to avoid it. They can't stand the heat of the pressure of being judged. As a result, they do everything to avoid conflicts, including sacrificing their sense of self, integrity, or respect. Again, me. Some of us, on the other hand, may get very defensive in an argument. Once a certain line is crossed where we feel extremely threatened, then we attack without restraint, and there is no holds barred in that case. Any relationship would be on the brink of collapse under such aggression. If we struggle with either of these patterns, then know that in childhood, we didn't have healthy models for de-escalating conflict or how to resolve them. In most such cases, we would have spent our whole life involved in relationships that were based on control, either someone controlling us or we controlling the other. If you resonate with these patterns, then the first thing to do is to learn to feel safe, especially in relationships. It's not a battleground. There is distrust that has been nurtured over years and it takes very little to feel threatened. Hence, you feel unsafe in relationships, putting your head in the sand to ignore the dynamics, or being defensive because you feel under attack all the time. Both are coping mechanisms which give us the illusion of being in control. When we feel unsafe, then anyone can be a potential enemy. If you are one who escalates in an argument, check within yourself that it may not really be your intent. You may be a loving being in the relationship with this person. It is your feeling unsafe and distrust that messes up the equation between the both of you. Now take your pen and paper and ask yourself these two questions. First, what positive things are we getting out of a fight? Write it down. I know the first reaction will be, there is nothing positive. Remember, every action has a positive intention behind that action. And that is an unconscious intention. So maybe consciously you feel there is nothing positive, but there's always an unconscious positive intention. Let me share the two unconscious intentions that everybody has behind every action. The first one is to gain significance. And the second one is to cope with the stress. So when you get into argument and that fight escalates, which one are you coping with? Are you getting a coping mechanism for any stressful thing, or are you gaining significance? And be honest with yourself. Go deeper within yourself to find what are your unconscious beliefs or what are your unconscious patterns. And the second question is, what bad things would happen if we take responsibility for de-escalating a fight in any way that we can. Repeat that question in your mind and write that answer. If we feel fearful about taking this responsibility to de-escalate a fight, then there is a trauma at the root of that fear. We fear that something bad will happen if we take the onus of de-escalation. It may be that when we wanted to and tried to de-escalate a conflict in our early childhood, some elder in the family abused us or ignored us or reprimanded us. It's that original trauma that requires healing. So now we can ask ourselves, when did I feel this exact same feeling for the first time? Or the worst time? When did I first learn that it wasn't safe to be soft and open so I could make a situation better? For example, one of your parents may have had such patterns and you bore the brunt of it. You may have wanted to please them so they would appreciate you. The parent may have totally ignored the implication of their behavior on you, and you would have learned to just survive by being unobtrusive as possible. In such a situation, two things can happen. Either the child can grow into an aggressive person or can totally become withdrawn, hide their feelings and emotions. So check how your early relationships were with your family members, especially the elders in the family. If they were full of unhealthy control dynamics, chances are that you are averse to resolving conflicts. You learn to survive in any way possible in an environment where each person looked after their own interest and their own needs. So what can you do if you want to work on this pattern? If you are a natural escalator, then essentially you don't know how to de-escalate and resolve conflicts. Also, what are some of the healthy ways to deal with conflict in relationships? First, understand that maximum number of conflicts happen because there is a big gap in the communication between the people in the relationship. It can be like coming from different continents and not understanding each other at all. There is a gap in even understanding some points of view of what is important to them and what is not. Perceptions are wildly different, and most times you may not even be arguing about the same thing. Each person starts to speak louder and louder to get their point across, and soon enough, a full-blown fight is on. Men and women think differently. That too is something to be kept in sight. When in an argument, it is important to become aware of the core of the argument of both people. It is usually the case that two people are arguing about different things altogether. How then can there be a consensus? It is very important to be on the same page in all your relationships. Second, when you are feeling the heat in the argument which you are not able to take care of, ask yourself these questions. First, what is my fear beneath the surface of this argument? Second, what am I really upset about in this situation? Third, is this fight about what we are disagreeing, or is there something deeper going on? When you have the answers to these questions, then that has to be communicated to the other person. You have to make them aware of what is really happening underneath all that fire. Be clear about what the goal of the conversation is. What is the purpose of and the goal that you are holding in your sight with this conversation? The more you keep the goals inside, the easier it is to stay on track and resolve the conflicts that come up. Remember the big picture. What's the intention of this conversation? Where do you want to lead this conversation to? What results you want to create in your life? The third one, we have to make a conscious commitment with ourselves to stay as calm as possible when an argument starts. It sounds simple, but it is not. When an argument actually starts, chances are that your survival pattern takes over and you follow it unconsciously. Remember that an intent is powerful, and when you keep giving this direction to yourself, your mind will start making you aware of your commitment to yourself faster each time. It's a conscious effort. What you can do is to breathe consciously, deep and slow breaths, and then say your words of intention with full awareness and commitment. You can also locate the aggression in your body. So close your eyes and scan which part of your body is holding on that aggression. Where is it making you feel uncomfortable? It may be in your chest or your tummy or your shoulders or your throat. Heal this discomfort by imagining the healing light of the universe reaching that part of your body and surrounding the discomfort, dissolving it, actually giving it love and comfort. Until it starts to recede, keep focusing on this light and on this part. How do you feel once you come out of it? Let me know in the comment section. Continue this until the discomfort is fully gone. And what is left is the loving, healing energy of the universe. It may be of any color for you. When you do this on a regular basis, your mind learns that this is possible and doable. As a result, the anger and aggression reactions go down gradually and you are able to communicate in a better way that does not harm your relationships. Fourth, no matter what you may have heard before, do not walk away from the person with whom you are arguing. In the midst of a conflict, this taking time out may feel like being abandoned, and you don't want to create another cycle of trauma. It can make matters worse as both the parties feel extremely hurt, and it can create irreparable distance in the relationship. Fifth, how can you stay safe in a conflict situation? This is required for both the people in the relationship. So both people have to ask themselves, what would make me feel safer right now? Do whatever is required for you to feel safe. It can be little things like a sip of water or a toy that comforts you, or sitting in a certain position, maybe rocking yourself for that comfort and safety. You will see that as you do that what makes you feel safe, the fight or flight nervous response starts to settle down. Your conscious mind will come in place and it will take different decisions for you. The awareness will be different when the fight and flight will reduce. Many a times it is required to get out of your own upset state before you can go with the actual argument. So give time to yourself, breathe, drink water. Give time to yourself to deal with the unsafe feelings that you're feeling right now. Sixth, remember that as soon as you start feeling your conscious mind shut down and you get into your survival pattern, you start walking into the red zone for your relationship. So without leaving the physical space, do whatever is required for you to get the trigger down so that you can contribute rationally and consciously in the conflict situation, so that you can create a win-win situation for yourself and your partner. These terms have to be agreed upon between partners in the relationship when they are setting their relationship goals, so that both of you can deal with the triggered state first and then get back to the conversation. You are better able to notice and understand the other person's perspective. Be more aware to note if you actually are arguing about the same thing. Deal with the feeling of powerlessness and fear first to then have a rational conversation. So the question to answer for yourself would be, what makes me feel powerless and fearful? Then write down your perception about what makes you feel powerless and fearful. Ask your partner the same. Also write about your perception of your partner's avoidance or escalation is about. Then swap what you have written down with your partner and share what you have discovered. Now you know what happens in both your spaces. Discuss these perceptions first. You either speak with each other if you feel that both of you can discuss this verbally without getting into an argument again. Or you can write back and forth each time, taking deep breaths to release the turmoil which may be coming up with the discussion. Seventh, You have to make sure that you are not appearing threatening to your partner. It may involve giving your partner a soothing touch. Physical touch can heal, it can give an opening to soften your heart in the argument. But make sure that your partner is agreeing to that physical touch. Don't force yourself. Show that you're open to give and receive this comfort. Show that you're open to healing together. 8th, humor goes a long way in lightening the whole ambience. So if it is appropriate, do introduce humor into the situation. It can make a serious situation seem not so serious. Gauge the situation first. Check that your partner is feeling better than when the argument started. That they are not still feeling triggered and unsafe by your humor. Else they may feel that you don't care about them or the situation. 9th, once we have understood why we act the way we do in an argument, we can then focus on why our partners behave the way they do in the same circumstance. What do they need at that time? What is their heart crying out for in those moments? Once we get this information, it's necessary to create a win-win situation for both of us. It is mandatory to acknowledge and heal our traumatic emotions. The key to understanding other people is to unlock what their emotions are telling you about them. Healing emotions means that we are able to become aware when we get triggered and we choose to deal with the triggered state. Healing does not mean that you will never ever get triggered. Please remember that. Healing means we choose to shift into a neutral state from a triggered state. From this neutral space, we can observe and understand passionately to see where we can stop our judgment about the other person. Lastly, look at conflict as an opportunity to bring deeper harmony and intimacy into your relationship. That should be your intent. It involves becoming more aware of yourself and your partner's patterns and getting past them together. Then you're making sure that you're not going to keep repeating the same argument. That would be a bridge crossed safely and successfully. Set your intention right and continue to grow and thrive. Remember that conflict gives you an opportunity to resolve what needs to be resolved within you and in your relationship. Learn to use the opportunity constructively. So for me, arguments are good. Share your thoughts with me. What is it for you? Arguments, good or bad? Let's have a discussion. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and share it with at least 10 people in your circle. Subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon so that you can get a notification when I upload the next video, which I do regularly. If you want more help from me, then there are 2 links in the caption. The first one is register for my live seminar to train your brain to achieve all your goals. Second, you can purchase my book You Matter through the link and start your personal growth journey with me. Until then, see you next time.